chief of emergency medicine at Denver General Hospital, where where the helicopters bring all of the ski injuries. Hey, Mailer. And he told me, I asked him, I says, did you go skiing? He says, you gotta be crazy. He says, you know how many people I treat each winter? He said, people who will never be the same for the rest of their lives. He says, you gotta be crazy to go skiing. And he's a sports enthusiast. But do me a favor, right? If you open up that door, close it. Behind that door, there's several tubes. There's several tubes. Maybe. Not some of the other ones.
Just close the door so you have the room.
Okay, my first question is, how many of you have a family tree?
Sorry, what was the question?
How many of you have family trees?
Oh, trees, yes, I do.
Sure.
How many generations of your family tree go back?
12.
12?
I don't know. I'm not sure a lot.
6.
Ours goes back 6.
That's pretty good. Very good. I would like to introduce you to my family. Let's see what over to this side. You would grab this side.
Wow. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Welcome to the family.
It's more like a forest.
Very well put. This is my great-grandfather. This is his father. This is his father. And round the top, across the top is father to father, 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 father. All the way until it hits David Melech Yisrael.
Wow.
King David,
Yes.
Yaakov, Yitzchak, Abraham. A little turn that over that's Noach, that's the guy with the big boat. And it stops over here with
Adam.
Adam. That's how we know that evolution did not take place. Because if Adam would have had a father, it would have been on the family tree. Okay. So we keep the connection. Every step down is a mother and her family. The mothers are very important in family trees. Keep on going down. This is who he married from their family tree. And if you the actuality is the family tree loops itself back over several times, but it just doesn't show it here. Because some of them reconnect to the same place along the road. So if somebody asks me, how do I know that we received the Torah at Mount Sinai? I would tell you, I can give you all the rationalizations in the world. I can prove that God had to create the world and God created the Torah. I know it because my grandfather told me. And my grandfather would never lie to me. And his grandfather told me. And his grandfather told me. And here, about over here, is where the grandfather who received the Torah. Somewhere along this line in history. An unbroken chain. And you see up on top there's two blue books called The Unbroken Chain. That's the, if you want to grab them, up there. And one more volume has already been added. That's the research that verifies this family.
Wow. That's amazing.
Unbroken chain of those families, of the leaders of the Jewish people. 95% of every rabbi, great teacher throughout Jewish history, on this family tree. It's a distinguished family tree. But the truth of the matter is that most of us who go back 12 generations, we'll find your grandfather on the tree. Because that's all it takes. If a family kept its family record back 12 generations, almost guaranteed we show you what it means. Because we as the Jewish people know that if we know where we came from, we can know where we're going to go to. If we don't know where we came from, how do we know where we're going to end up? So this process is a process with which Steve tells me who I am and maybe who I really should try and be. And it also tells me what I'm going to have to pass on to my children and grandchildren. And therefore the link and the perpetuation of Jewish people and Torah is an unbroken chain of how it's been transmitted adapted, molded for each generation. Some of these were survivors of the Inquisition in Spain. Some of them were those who marched out of Jerusalem, and some of them were those who were in Babylon and France and Paris, Germany and Poland. However, it's an unbroken chain, because that's the way Torah exists. It's not a hypothetical, it's not a belief. We don't ask you to believe that God gave us the Torah. Because that's either you believe or you don't believe. I can tell you who was there when we got it. And since there were so many of them that were there when we got it, we know that they always check out one against the other. So this is introduction. Anybody wants to get a copy, we can arrange for copies. You got to take it to one of these places that produces architectural big giant machine. By the way, this is a copy of the original. The original is twice the size. It's handwritten and it's hanging in the office of the Hornsteipler Rebbe in Berlin. 2 or 3 originals were made by the artists and the researchers who did this, and one survived the World War II. Then, but I would like to show you another piece of this process, which is what I would call essential to understanding how we believe, or what gives us a knowledge that we're part of one continuum, one unbroken chain. Because, you know, rabbis, maybe you had the pleasure of somebody asking me. I've been waiting for somebody to ask me this question for a long time. How do we know we didn't play telephone? What's telephone?
Broken telephone.
Broken telephone.
Broken telephone. Yeah, what happens when you play broken telephone?
Gets
By the end. Right? I've been waiting for somebody to ask me. How do we know? Maybe the message got changed somewhere along the way. Did anybody ever answer the question?
Sure.
None of these guys never asked you a question. Good answer.
How do we know?
Wait, I've been waiting for an answer. I would like to show you something which is, again, part of the family heritage, and it's pretty impressive, and every time I see it, it's pretty remarkable. You see back here? This is my Talmud section. Talmud and Jewish law. Back there is Hasidic laws, there's court cases, and there's Kabbalah. We've got my library divided. This is the latest printing of the Talmud. Given to me on our 40th wedding anniversary. My original Talmud that I got when we got married, fortunately, got worn out. And my mother-in-law, my wife, decided to buy me a new one. So this is the newest one. This is my oldest one. I've got several volumes here, Large. Once you get a feel for it. It's bound with, they didn't have cardboard, so they bound it with wood and leather. That was one of the newer ones.
When was it made?
This one, printed in 1836. One of the relatively new ones.
They would have lost my phone a couple
I don't know.
Really want to go right this second. Because he wants
They're
to.
quite expensive if you want to try and buy them. Sotheby's, every once in a while, has it. That one was printed in Slavitsa, which is in the Ukraine, 1836. This one, I don't know if any of you are good with Hebrew. Rabbi, please. Okay. Sachet, Psachim. Good.
Frankfurt.
Frankfurt, there are 2 Frankfurts in Germany. one on the main river, one on the other river. There's a community in Frankfurt, the other, printed this Talmud. It's printed in the year. Five, 4, 5, 7. What year are we in the Jewish calendar now? 5772. Who can subtract 772 from 315 years? This Talmud Surah said that one's a relatively new one. This is 315 years old. Okay? And it's still bound with leather.
Don't rip it.
Paper is still. Paper is still.
Isn't that some 1696?
Right here.
Chapter 15 from.
Actually, it's 2 volumes paid, published back to back.
What did the auction piece sell for?
They're not up for sale.
They're expensive or something. Fancy.
Actually, let me see. Can you see, there's those gold, this new, those Hebrew English, back there. Right above your head. Yeah, the art scroll.
You ready?
No, I'm just trying to do the math.
1696.
696.
It was right after the Inquisition. Is that your phone? You found it?
Carly.
Thank you. Thank God.
The other ones are over there. This is another of the Frankfurt other Talmud, except this one has a hand-drawn piece of a front page, because it was donated. It says who donated the printing. This is quite a fascinating piece of artwork.
Don't give the wrong.
Have you thought about getting them rebound?
No,
You don't want to rebound them.
the original binding is plastic.
Dina, do you want to hold it up for me?
So, I don't use them on a daily basis.
A little bit of your cheek is there.
If any of you don't like this, Hebrew?
Is there a buffer?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing?
Number 2
Beautiful.
and number 1.
Put your hand
Let
there.
me, do you have a Zohar model? Okay, good, that's right. That's perfect. Okay? You have over there 315-year-old Talmud. Here you have
When you're in school, you make
the
a
latest Hebrew English
pirate's
art scroll Talmud.
Take a piece of paper and put coffee on it.
Hold it on the stove.
This one's, okay, 2000. You'll open up the first page of the Talmud. First page. Good. See if you can find any changes.
Just read the first sentence in that one and then read it in this one.
Look engaged.
Check the footnotes. Check the footnotes. Rashi. Those. Exact same page, exact same print, exact same word for word, letter for letter. 300 years, no broken telephone.
So we get another year.
Look.